Okay, this one is for my fellow data lovers. I think you'll find this video very interesting. I also got a load of questions in my recent Q&A about how I'm balancing life and work and motherhood, so this should hopefully answer all of that in more detail. So I actually tracked every minute of my day for a whole month before I went on maternity leave. I put together a more detailed breakdown video about all of that information on Patreon, but the gist of it was that I was getting about 8 hours of sleep a night. Just over half of my awake time was spent on like downtime, and that's stuff like watching telly, eating meals, scrolling on my phone, doing puzzles, reading, downtime. 30% of my wake time was spent on work, and we'll get into what that means in hours when we get to the comparison bit in a sec. And then 6.8% of my time was self-care. That's basically stuff like having a shower, doing my nails, exercising. Then it was like 5.7% on life admin, cleaning, paying bills, running errands, and then 3.9% on social. And I think I counted in-person socializing and texting and phone calls in that. I will say that the 2 weeks I chose, the one before and the one after having a baby, weren't particularly social ones. In fact, I don't even think I left the house in the pre-maternity leave sample week that I tracked because I was working every day to prepare for my time off. But otherwise, I would say that this is a typical look at the structure of my life pre-baby. Now, to compare, I'm actually spending more time in bed, surprise, but that's because I go to bed at like 9:30 to 10 rather than after midnight. However, how much of that time I spend asleep, who knows? We are in the tail end of like a second sleep progression at the moment, so baby is up like 4 or 5 times a night. She usually eats for 15 to 20 minutes each time, and at least once a night I end up spending another like 20 minutes trying to get her back to sleep. And then I don't know if this is a common thing or not, but I find it really hard to fall back asleep despite how tired I am. I think I'm just like anticipating her waking up again, so it can be another like 20 minutes to half hour before I'm back asleep. So I would say that I'm getting anywhere between like 4 and 6 hours of sleep every night. Last night, maybe like 3 hours. Now, if you include the time that I'm working with the baby, out with the baby, doing life admin with the baby, I spend just over 50% of my awake time with her, which actually feels like less than I expected. 42% of my time is just like one-on-one baby focused time, playing, feeding, changing, occasionally holding her for a nap. I think maybe because she goes to bed 3 hours before me. Yeah, that's probably where the numbers add up. Then I spend 22.5% of my time on downtime activities. So I'm mainly watching YouTube videos, occasionally a film, a lot of puzzles on my phone during night feedings. I have like the New York Times puzzle app. Many hours spent on that. Work is now 17.7% of my time, with about a quarter of that being working while also holding, entertaining, distracting baby Ro. A new category, so one that I didn't track previously, is time spent out of the house. So obviously that's something that I do a lot more of now. It's 4% of my waking hours in total. Then 6.6% on self-care, 3.9% still on social, which doesn't seem quite right because there is always someone here. There's someone here most days to visit, or we're out walking with a friend, but maybe I just didn't choose a good week for tracking that. And then 2.8% on life admin, with a small percentage of that being with Ro. So that was a lot. I hope you're not bored. I think once we look at what that means time-wise, it'll make a bit more sense and hopefully be a bit more interesting. So, all right, I am now spending 46 hours a week with Ro, which feels so weird to quantify in that way. But yeah, that's an average of 6.5 hours a day, I think. So basically most of her wake time plus maybe one contact nap, because she sleeps, I think, like 14 hours a day, like within the 24 hours. And then obviously some of this is with Ozzy too when he's not at work, and the rest of her time is with him one-on-one. I think like 3.5 hours a day, just the two of them when he's home from work. And obviously there's some crossover when it's the three of us all together. My downtime is now more than half what it was before, at 24 hours, down from 61.5, which averages at 9 to 3.5 respectively, 3.5 hours a day, which, yeah, that makes sense with Ozzy spending 3.5 hours with the baby. But yeah, 3.5 hours a day just chilling doesn't sound bad at all. I did include meals in that, but eating's a hobby. It's a hobby of mine. Anyway, if we're looking at a 5-day week for work, I was working just over 7 hours a day before, not counting any breaks, and now just over 2 hours and 45 minutes, plus an extra like 45 minutes a day working with the baby. So what is that? Let me try and work this out exactly so we're not just using roundabout numbers. I think that's 3 hours and 47 minutes a day over 5 days, 18.5 hours a week in total, which is like part-time, I think. 5 hours out of the house across the week, half an hour of that being on my own, the rest of it being with the baby, which just doesn't feel like enough. I definitely need to work on that. I want to aim for at least an hour a day, which would be nice, but it's definitely a huge improvement for me. And then self-care is more than half, from around an hour a day, which is crazy. That seems like so much, to about half an hour a day, which tracks because I have to get showered, dressed, teeth brushed, etc. while she's napping, and she usually only naps for half an hour. And I'm not exercising at the moment, but I am more active day to day than I was before. Almost an hour a day was spent on life admin before, mainly cleaning, because Ozzy does all the cooking, cleaning, planning, finances, admin stuff, you know. And then now I think that is 20 minutes a day, plus an extra half hour across the week that I did life admin stuff with Ro. I think that was just one day where I was like folding clothes with her, which sometimes she enjoys, sometimes. And like I said, social is more or less the same. I think there's like a 15-minute difference from before I had a baby to after. But as I said, I think the numbers are a bit off on that one, because I'm definitely spending more time with people. And I know for a fact that I didn't include like phone calls and stuff in this one either. But these are the numbers that we're working with. I think it's as accurate as it's gonna get. So did any of this surprise you? I actually really like seeing how much work I'm actually still getting done, because I'm constantly stopping and starting. It just feels like I'm not ever getting anything done, but it is doable, at least for now. Ro is constantly changing, her routine keeps changing, her needs keep changing, so I will have to keep adapting to that and squeezing in time around her for everything else. But yeah, for all of the people who asked about the work-life balance as a mum, I hope that this has helped answer that at least a little bit, and I hope that you found this as interesting as I did. There must be some fellow spreadsheet nerds watching that love this stuff as much as I do. But yeah, thank you for joining me for this one, and I will see you soon in the next one. Bye.